Steelers won their bye week without even playing a game. Big Deke news. Yeah, this is probably the most obvious talking point for Steelers talk and Steelers content for today. The Steelers won their bye week, which isn't wrong. Trust me, it's right. While the Steelers are resting, getting healthy, starters are ready to come back like Jaylen Warren, JPJ, Alex Highsmith. The rest of the AFC North is choking. Week 5, all the other 3 teams went 0-1. And then if you want to take it a step further, over the last 2 weeks, the Steelers are the only team in division with a win. Ravens, Bengals, Browns, all 0-2. And then you look at the landscape across the league, Steelers being at 3-1. We're only a half game back from the best record in the AFC, best record in the league. So Steelers are in a good spot right now. Definitely a good spot, and they didn't even have to do anything in Week 5. Didn't even have to play a game, but it felt like we won. And if you look at the first quarter of the season, this is, why the Steelers are in this really great spot. It's like we didn't even play that good, and we're in 3-1. We dealt with some significant injuries those first 4 weeks. Defense was subpar. Offense had its moments, but really looked stagnant at times. Looked like we regressed to Matt Canada days, yet we're 3-1. And it feels like the best is ahead of us. So we should be feeling great, right? We really should. But at the same time, I'm not going to be too forgetful of what has taken place with these Steeler teams over the last 2 seasons. Because weren't we in pretty much the same spot in Kenny's second year? Remember, weren't we like 7-4 or something? And we had like a 4 or 5 game stretch ahead of us where we were facing the easiest teams in the league, and there was no reason why we shouldn't have been at least 4-1 or 5-0 through that stretch, and we would have been on top of the AFC North and probably competing for a 1 seed. Like it was that clear and obvious, and it felt like we were heading down this great stretch, and Steelers were in this great spot. And then what took place? Tomlin losses left and right. We're 7-7 with 3 games left. Mason has to save the season for just us to squeak into the playoffs. And then last year, 10-3. Russ is back. We have an offense. We're one of the best teams in the AFC. What could go wrong? And then everything that could go wrong did go wrong. So it almost feels like we're in a similar spot right now. Look at the rest of the AFC North. Lamar's hurt. Ravens are 1-4. Bengals don't have Joe Burrow for this season. And, of course, the Browns are the Browns. And these first 2 games coming off the bye are obvious wins, right? Browns at home, Dylan Gabriel, second start. Bengals, Thursday Night Football with Jake Browning. It's like, oh, man, after these next 2 or 3 weeks, there's no reason why the Steelers shouldn't be like 6-1, 7-1. What could go wrong? So let's just not forget that, just 2 weeks ago, I and probably most of the fan base was saying stuff like this. I was saying during the game, is it best to just have low expectations, 0 expectations going into these? Because I do have high expectations for this team, and I think that's just leaving me disappointed after seeing a game like today, after seeing really what the Steelers team has looked like the first 3 weeks. So trust me, I'm not trying to be a party pooper here. I just know we got a lot of football left, and a lot of things can happen. But Steelers really are in a great spot. I don't want to hype it up too much. I just want to be quiet about it. Because every time it feels like we hype it up and feel like everything's a foregone conclusion about this team, things go off the rails. But we're in a good spot. Just be quiet about it. We really are. Especially coming off of the last game we played. That's the thing probably to get most excited about is how we looked before the bye. That was the most complete game from the Steelers this season. And sorry, I didn't really give the most comprehensive of recaps or reactions to that game and have kind of been MIA over the last week. I was in Italy, man. My buddy was celebrating his wedding over there. It was like a week-long trip. So it was basically like my bye week, and I wanted to let you guys know before I went over, but I was busy as hell trying to get ready for that. But that was the setting, the backdrop for the Steelers-Vikings post-game report. So, again, apologies for not, keeping you guys up to date and letting you guys know, but that's why the content wasn't existent for the last, I guess, like week or so. But I did give my post-game report to the Steelers-Vikings. I was able to watch it over there. But that was, like, to me, that was our most complete game. Offense looked awesome. Offensive line, that was hands down their best game yet. Kept Rodgers protected good. Was opening up running lanes for Kenneth Gainwell. He had a career day. Rodgers was picking his spots, super accurate with the ball. And then the defense looked like the defense was supposed to look for, about 90% of the game. The last 4 minutes were a disaster, absolute disaster on multiple fronts. I did like that we went for it on that fourth down. I did like the aggressiveness there. But then we didn't go for it on fourth down. The next time we had the ball and punted it, that didn't really make sense to me. But ultimately, we got out of there with a win. There was the defensive lapse with Jordan Addison getting open there, but hell of a play by Peyton Wilson making that tackle. I thought it was an awesome game. We can complain about those last 4 minutes for sure, but every other facet of this Steelers team improved. Now we have the bye. Now we're getting healthier. Jalen Ramsey's banged up. I don't know how many weeks that he's going to be missing, but that's a credit to Omar Khan and Mike Tomlin and how they built this roster up this season. We're getting JPJ back. We might lose Jalen Ramsey for a little bit, but we have two bona fide outside guys. Brandon Echols has been stepping up. That's what depth can do for you. I want to give a shout-out to Peyton Wilson and Patrick Queen, too, for that Vikings game. I'm sure other Steeler channels have talked about them, but that was their best games in a Steeler uniform this season. Peyton Wilson, Patrick Queen flying around. We've been complaining and critiquing the inside linebacker play between those two and how they haven't been physical enough, and it's just that they're not living up to the hype. But that one, they really turned the corner. That gave me hope that, okay, they could be stalwarts for this defense playing the inside linebacker position. TJ Watt showed up. Herbig showed up. The defensive line showed up. Keanu Benton had his best game. So there's a lot to like about this Steelers team and how we played going into this bye. It's not like we luckily won against the Vikings. It wasn't like we had these fluky couple turnovers and the offense was just getting by like in that Patriots game. No, this was us dominating for about 90% of it, us having some lapses down the stretch, but that is how it was supposed to look. Not a lucky win. Not we're limping into the bye 3-1 and, there's not real optimism. No, I think there is real optimism going forward. Like, we should only be getting better from here. We've dealt with injuries. We've dealt with some chemistry issues, communication issues on both the offensive and defensive side of the ball. We're 3-1. We got the rest of the season ahead of us, and we're going to be the healthiest that we've been outside of week one, really. I like where we're at. I do like where we're at. It's just that let's not hype it up too much, man, because we know what happens when we hype it up too much. You get the bad losses, you get the disappointment, you get the Tomlin losses, all that type of stuff. So, game at a time. Let's just stick with that mentality. Game at a time. It's hard to win in this league no matter who you're playing. Low expectations, and I think that'll be better than how at least us as fans have handled the last couple years when we've felt like we're in these amazing spots. But outside of that, I don't think I have much else for today. The bye week it seemed from afar pretty uneventful. I was checking the headlines, checking the Steelers stories. Nothing too crazy going on. So we got Tomlin Tuesday tomorrow with the press conference. We'll see what he has to say there, and then we'll obviously get the preview for this Week 6 game coming up against the Browns later in the week, and we'll be on our way. But we're back. We are back for the rest of the season. Content is going to be staying consistent. If anything, I got to give myself a pat on the back because up until this Italy trip, I feel like I've been cooking like August and September, been really consistent throughout the weeks, and that's what it's going to be like going forward. Just had a little Italy trip right there thrown in between. Like, that's a once-in-a-lifetime trip. I didn't want to be stressed out over trying to get work done or anything like that. But, again, I did want to let you guys know it's just got sidetracked with getting ready and just didn't have the time. Apologies. Hope you guys understand. But that's it for today's show. Stay chilling and peace.